Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 5 in this best of 5 series. Polt and Taeja all tied up here as we're playing on Coral Sky Island LE. Polt spawning as the blue Terran player on the top right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, on the bottom left we see Liquid Taeja spawning as the red Terran. Now, a couple of things to note. There are a number of locations here where you can in fact set up expansions. This game, it could in fact turn out into a very long macro battle with a lot of cliffs, a lot of siege tanks and marines. However, both of these players, well-known players, they may not even let the game go that long if one of the players tries to go for a bio style. We saw Taeja do exactly that, push out with marines and siege tanks just as 1-0 timing was completed and combat shield. Seeker missile taking down a siege tank very early, and that one siege tank getting destroyed really opened up the possibilities for Taeja, as that was much of the static defense that Polt was counting on. Polt now sitting on the top right hand side, looks like he is going to be going for a barracks first. Meanwhile, what is Taeja doing? Is Taeja actually going to be gutsy enough to go command center first on a map like this? This would be rather unheard of. I even said it in Game 4 that it almost seems like an apparent suicide attempt if you try to go for a command center first. Command center first is going to be the opening coming in from Taeja, and you can now see an SCV is making its way down. Perhaps a barracks can finish off this wall in right here. And all this SCV needs to do is make sure that there is no proxy barracks behind the mineral lines. Alright, doesn't notice anything there. It could have been placed down here or here as well, as there is the barracks. Taeja's wall off is now complete, as Polt will most likely open up with that cloaked banshee play. Now, the Polt SCV of Polt spots this command center and goes, "Oh, tricky Taeja, I know exactly what you're doing. I know what you're up to, but I don't know exactly what I'm doing yet." The most obvious course of action would be to go for cloaked banshees, but because it is so obvious, Taeja should be able to respond against it. Perhaps getting down an engineering bay with some missile turrets would help, but at the same time, because it is quote-unquote so obvious, perhaps Polt goes, you know what? He probably knows that I'm going to go Banshees. So what am I going to do instead? I'm going to throw down a reactor and now train up a whole bunch of Marines and go for a command center of my own. This is much faster than I would have normally expected, as there is a Marine going after this SCV here. SCV will get taken down. There it goes. And now Taeja is just a little bit more in the dark as this SCV now backs off here. Orbital command already done for Polt. Meanwhile, Taeja now having 2 orbital commands nearing completion and will be slightly ahead in his economy. However, Polt will not be forced to lift off and land this command center, and that is also a big importance as well. The fact that you can transfer SCVs over from your main base to your natural without diminishing returns and set it up just a little bit faster does bode well for Polt. Alright, let's take a look at this here. Polt does have 2 Marines on the high ground here trying to intercept any units. SCV now looking to back off. Taeja just training up SCVs the old-fashioned way, not going to even bother to transfer anything over, as he has a handful of Marines here. Taeja with double gas right now, and also getting up a starport. And what is this? We now see a 3rd command center come in from Polt. Polt is actually double expanding, hoping that Taeja is going for that economic game, and Taeja is not. Taeja is actually doing a complete 180. After setting up this early orbital command, he's going to be going into a starport with perhaps... No, wait, starport... Where is that starport? Starport over here with a tech lab. He's going to be going for cloaked banshees. So what was obviously Polt's strategy has now turned into Taeja's strategy, as we're now going into Vikings. Alright, an early Viking being trained. What is this? A Viking being trained. There's a tech lab sitting right here. Not exactly sure what's going on. Perhaps Taeja is expecting a Banshee to come into play. However, that is not going to be the case, as we're now going into... What is this? We are going into double Hellions all the way, and now we are going to be adding on a tech lab onto the barracks for perhaps Stim. All right, Taeja is just blowing my mind in terms of strategy. What I thought was cloaked Banshee play is not that at all. Taeja may have decided to change things up at the very, very last moment, as we're now looking at a medevac drop inside with with Hellions, not the blue flame variety, just old school Hellion run by. And is it going to be enough? You can see that the Hellions are right there. Oh, can get a free SCV. Oh, that SCV needs to take a little bit more damage. There it goes, as now there are 4 Hellions against the 2. And oh, there you have it. Are those Hellions going to get off some easy shots? Yes, they are. Battling it back up, there is a Marauder on the field as well. Something that you rarely get to see. Vikings, 2 of them now in the air. That is going to be some major air superiority, as the medevac needs to consider what it's going to try and do. Widow Mines may make its way inside as well, and if it can perhaps burrow itself right underneath these SCVs here, that could be a lot of damage. All right, more Widow Mines being added. No, they are not. You can see that the Viking is currently on patrol. Is it going to catch this medevac? Oh, it might in fact catch the medevac. That could be a huge no, just outside of sight range. Beautifully played, beautifully done. There are a whole bunch of Hellions though, and these Hellions are expecting something to happen. All right, medevac now looking to come in. You can see that the Marauders are right there. And now, oh, the drop not going to work, as the Widow Mines are quickly going to perhaps burrow themselves. No, not even going to burrow themselves. There's 1, there's 2. There's going to be a Widow Mine hit. There, down goes the Viking. Beautifully done there, as that Viking is now out of play. And Polt somehow going to maintain the economic advantage, 51 to 44. And if this game goes long, Polt will come out ahead. Hellions now making their rounds over here, gonna spot that there is nothing at the third base, as the Hellions are just getting some easy damage onto this supply depot. You could always consider trying to attack at a different angle, getting in a little bit more damage. Oh, that one Viking going after the units there, and the Hellion does get taken down at the cost of one other unit. Oh, there you go. There's a little bit of flame battle as the Hellions are now backing off. Hellion versus a supply depot. Did it supply block Taeja? Perhaps a little bit, sitting at 80 over 81, and we're now seeing very heavy, once again, Marine production. The Orbital Command now finally making its way here. This is because we are making good saturation at the third base now, or at the second base, so we may see some SCVs being transferred over. Yes, exactly that. 12 SCVs being transferred over already, as we're going into 1-1 upgrades. I gotta give it to Polt. Polt saw that his opponent was going for a long game and said, you know what, I'm going to go for a long game too, because Taeja may not know what's going on. However, Taeja is now moving out. He has siege tanks. He is getting 1-1 upgrades. No combat shield as of yet, as the Hellions may catch this Marine out of position. There it goes. One more shot, and yes, it does get taken down. Meanwhile, there is Hellions all across the map, scouting all across the map, as, oh, another round of Hellions taking a bit too much damage. There was that beautiful Widow Mine hit there. Not necessarily killing that many units, but dealing a lot of damage. There's the scanner sweep, as the rest of the Marines are now taken down. Oh, trying to do a little bit of run by there. Stim once again eating into the hit points of those Marines, as we're now seeing a fairly large army come in from Polt. SCV saturation here now looking very strong, 65 to 65. This base over here by Taeja has been established as well, and somehow Taeja has kept things even though he built his third command center a bit later, and now he's actually taking the lead. We're looking at some Venn diagrams already, giant circles, those sensor towers offering up so much insight. 1-1 upgrades versus 1-0 upgrades right there. You obviously saw who came out and took the lead, as that one poor Marine did not get the memo to try and heal up anymore. Marines now trying to fight back, and down goes a couple more of them, as more Marines here are going to be staying alive. We can see 2 Marines are off to the side. Marines are now making their way in right here. There is one Hellion sitting in position, and both players want to do some sort of sneak attack if possible, but have not been able to because of these sensor towers. All right, I am surprised that there's not another 1 or 2 more missile turrets here. This is the perfect area to drop on both sides. We're going to see now another sensor tower being built, And with that, there's going to be no real way of engaging against someone's base and hitting their production. Marines are in position here. You can see that they're just walking in a bit of a line. All these Marines and siege tanks are all positioned as well. Siege tanks are on the low ground. Polt has a huge lead. Can he make something happen here as the Marines may try and shoot down this Viking? There's the scanner sweep, and siege tanks, I'm going to destroy, at least I believe destroy, or attempt to destroy a supply depot. The siege tanks now looking to back off here. It doesn't look like they want to engage. And with that, Taeja knows that those siege tanks are backing off thanks to the help of all of these sensor towers. All right, trying to come in from a far side here. You can see Taeja now moving down, not overcommitting to protecting his third, as we already see that Polt is just staying outside of sight range here, now finally charging straight on in. There is one siege tank and one siege tank only, as the siege tanks now try to make their way over. There's the siege onto the high ground. There's the marauder there. There goes the siege tank, as the rest of the siege tanks are now going to be blasting away. Is it gonna blast enough, as the siege tanks all on the low ground destroying this here? But there's some siege tanks right over here as well, getting in some nice good shots. All right, scanner sweep, siege tanks blasting apart. One siege tank sitting in the middle there. Marines now trying to go through. It looks as though Polt has enough in this fight here, as he is just pushing his way through against all of Taeja's units. Taeja losing a lot of siege tanks, but many of those siege tanks are hiding underneath medevacs. Difficult to spot. 20 some odd Marines completely unchallenged though, and that may be the GG. 70 supply difference. Worker kill count 28 to 0, as Liquid Taeja giving a good GG, well played at the end of the game. That is going to be it for us, as there is the final game here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, as Polt takes game game number 5 in this best of 5. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.